Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Mubarak and Sakarish here.
And this is Anna Dornier.
Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome to episode 8. It's actually still content that connects and converts. It's part 4 of that training series. So the reason why we're doing this part 4, originally this was going to be 3 parts because it's the know, like, and trust factor, right? But then we had some feedback with our clients and they're like, well, I mean, the problem is that it's really hard to come up with content. It's like, let me prove to you that it's not. And so we'll give you a lot of examples today on how you can truly apply this like factor to your content directly and give you a lot of ideas. And also in our Organic Reach Lead Secrets program, we actually give you some really great templates and examples on there too. So if you're like one of those where it's like, it's really hard for me to come up with content, this episode is truly going to help you. Did you want to add something?
But of course, I want to add 2 things. Yeah, one is this specific episode within the like trust factor series. It takes things home. It takes them extra. You hear me talk about implement, but this now, it's that point. If you can't implement from here, then I don't know when. Why is that? Is because maybe when you're listening to the past episodes, you're just a consumer mode, right? You're just consuming content, right? But now here is when you become a producer, right? We are giving you things that now you're going to be a producer to go now produce content that your market is going to like and get to know you, because there is no other way on the internet. If you're not a producer, people are going to know you, right? You got to give them something to know you, right? So now here we're giving it to you. But also I want Anna to talk about something. She mentioned about Organic Reach Lead Secrets. There's something we did recently that, again, it's unheard of. People said, are you guys crazy? We're like, yes, we are crazy. We know that. We honor, we dress that badge with honor of being crazy people. And I want to talk about the change that we made. And we said, you know what? Every system within Organic Reach Leads, we're going to give it to you for free, right? We're not going to hold back, because as you see here so far, we have been giving you things, right? But now, as she mentioned it, I want her to talk about that and those tools that she's saying. Yeah, there is a way somewhere here on the website, or even we can add it in the show notes for you. You can go and see that every system we have in Organic Reach, Organic Reach, it's available for you. No commit nothing, just go download them, because that's also you to see how to create content. It's a good example for you to see. Look at everything, because we're giving you everything other people are paying $97 a month to have access to. We're giving it to you for free so that you can do what? See, it's a content side. We're going to show you how to do it, but also we're going to show examples, right? You can go there somewhere in description of this video, depending on where you're watching it. If it's a podcast, we highly recommend you come to the website, which is organicreachx.com, or if you're watching on YouTube, check in the notes sections. And so why, Anna, from that know, like, and trust, right? I'm now sharing with them, why did we decide to say, you know what, you guys, you want to find out what we do here? Have everything. You can, if you an implementer, if you're someone who can implement things and you don't need accountability, you don't need a mastermind, you're just a learner, you can just do things on your own. Here, why?
Because we want people who take action, and also to show behind the scenes that yes, this is valuable. If like Mubarak said, if you are an action taker, then you will see the value in it. And we don't have to coach you. We don't have to give you the training in order for you to succeed with the content. right? So that's the main reason why we did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah.
No,
Are you ready
that's
for
the best.
today?
Yes. Let's take action. Let's
Yeah,
take
I'm
action.
for sure. I'm glad you remembered that because I totally forgot that we even graded that. So I
Hey,
just made a
teamwork.
note.
Teamwork.
Yeah, for sure. See, this is how you guys know that we don't really plan much. Like we just do things organically. So, all
We're
right.
in the
So
flow.
always, always. So podcast episode 8. Again, this is part 4 of content that connects and converts. And this is creating content for the like factor. And this is the last episode of this training series. We're gonna switch gears for the next episode. So for today's sessions, we're going to review the aspects of what makes your brand likable, right? So if you remember from that episode, I think it was episode 7, where we talked about the like factor. We'll review that and then we'll tie it back into how we're going to create content from that. And then we'll give you examples on how you can create. Yeah. So when creating content, always make sure that you have a target audience in mind. This is again one of those marketing things that like you gotta have an avatar, you gotta know your avatar, right? Like I that used to like make me freeze when I first heard it. It's like, oh, it has to be perfect. Like, no, it doesn't have to be perfect right away. Like, I think that for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if you're in a digital space, it's okay to not know your avatar right away, but at least come up with somebody specific that you want to work with based on how you want your business to look like. Again, it goes back to that 3-part aligned vision, the financial goals vision, right? That we did the first training series we did in this podcast. So make
Yeah.
sure that you have a target audience in mind. It's one of those things where it's like having an end in mind really helps, right?
Yes.
I don't even know who said that. Begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
That's, do you know who said
That's,
it?
yes. And the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Wakavi.
Yes, Stephen Covey.
Yes.
Stephen Covey. I can't talk today. Okay. So thank you.
You're
For the
welcome.
purpose of this session, the example that we'll give, the audience that we'll give is moms on maternity leave. So this really helps kind of tie that point up as well with the rest of the content, because if we're just talking about moms on maternity leave, then it helps us really drive the point home to you with the examples, because it makes the examples more clear, because we're
Mm.
talking to a specific audience, right? So this is the slide from the episode 7, the like factor episode, where what do friends, mentors, colleagues do, right? So they inspire you or make you see things in a new light. Their values and opinions match yours. You feel good around them. You like their sense of humor, or you like their style, or you like the same things, right? Like sports, music, hobbies. So you remember that from that episode if you listened or watched that episode. So this is how then we translate that into a content. So they inspire you or make you see things in a new light. So what does that look like? You can create a guide, right? How can these moms use their time wisely, right? You can do before, during, after, in that same guide of like how their life look like before this
Mm.
guide, and then how does it look like to implement this guide, and then the after, like the results that they're going to get once they actually go through the guide, right? That's very valuable. And they're going to love you for it, not just like they're going to love you for it if you're making their life easier, right? Especially for moms who just had a baby. Right? You can also talk about, hey, use this as a time to think about things that matter most, like your family, right? That's
Yeah.
top of mind for them. That's already going in their mind, going on in their mind. So talk about inspirational ideas to work from home or start a new business, right? If it's like something that goes in line with your message, your business message. For I think for this example, we were using one of our clients example where she is showing women, especially moms, how to sell on Amazon, right? And how
Mm,
to do it from home and all that. So for her, it makes sense to do this. So in your business, depending on what that is, if your target market are moms who are on maternity leave, think about that. How can you kind of interject your message into that life situation, right? Or you can also talk about what are some myths you can debunk, that can shift in how women typically approach maternity leave, right? Typically, it's a time to rest. Obviously, it's a time to be with the baby, take care of the baby. But what are some myths that you can debunk that can shift their perspective in that, that could inspire them to do something different or better, right? So that's that one. And then you can also use that inspiration aspect to feature success stories of your clients that have made the switch to entrepreneurship while they were on maternity leave. Again, right? Facts tell, stories sell, right? So stories will always connect better with your audience than facts ever will, right? So the factor where it's like their values and opinions match yours, how can you show that in your content? So what are your top family values that are non-negotiable, right? So you can talk about that. You can also talk about what has your lifestyle provided for you and your family. Talk about it in a story. So if you are a mom that started the business during a maternity leave, right? What kind of lifestyle has your business provided for you, right?
mm,
If this is your target market. Again, this is why the target market really helps when you're creating content, especially when you're tying it to these different factors that we're talking about today. So why did you choose what you do, right? What are the pros that made you say yes to it? Again, tell a story. So you can just literally like use these as like prompts. Let's say for a post or a blog post, a social
mhm,
media post or a blog post or even a video. You can use these as prompts and you can just like tell the story off the cuff, right? You can also show them how does an empowered woman entrepreneur think like, right? So create a list. So again, these are the values and opinions of yours that you're sharing with your audience. So for the aspect of feeling good around them, here's how you can create this into content. What was or were your favorite work from home moments with your child or your family, right? So if this was the
mm,
time when you did start your business, what was that favorite time? Like it could be like that time when you were shooting a video, and this is a true story. I was shooting a video, and Bella, you see Bella usually if you're watching the video, you're gonna see her pop up behind me most of the time. She will do that, and she's like, "Mommy, I want to be at the introduction of your video. I want to say hi to everyone." So I mean, I love that they're showing their personality, and they get to be a part of my everyday life, and I get to show them off while I'm doing my work stuff, so talk about that stuff. um, Another question that you can ask and create a post out of is, what's your favorite part of doing what you do? And you can tie
mm,
it back to family, you can tie it back to lifestyle, you can tie it back to whatever benefit it has already provided for you, right?
mm,
um, you can also talk about what does your day look like, what makes this suitable for women who have children, right? So I just love that. Like I think that's inspiration for moms. It's like, oh my gosh, I never really thought about being able to do that, and
mm,
not returning back to work. If that's already in their mind, I know that was in my mind even before I had children. Right? It's like, wait a minute, how am I going to spend as much time with my kids
mhm,
if I'm here working 8 to 5? Right? So inspire them by showing them what your day looks like. You're not just constantly working with your business. In fact, your business provides extra time to spend
mhm,
time with your family and your kids, right? So show them about that. So the other aspect of you like their sense of humor or style. So here's how you can come up with content for that. Write about funny things that you or one of your family members did. And then keep a record. I love that. Like if you, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I gotta remember it. Like sometimes I'll post it on social media right away. Sometimes I'll just write it on my notes. If it makes sense to share it, I'll share it in a business kind of environment, right? Write about your pet peeves in a funny way, right? Everyone has pet peeves, and most of them are pretty funny. So write about those, right? Because then they're gonna like, oh my gosh, she's like that. Like either you're gonna find it funny, or it's like, oh my gosh, I'm just like you, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna resonate with it. Or do you have anything that you do that is naturally you and is hilarious? Write about it or them. Like I know my husband will always make fun of me because he says I have the perfect timing, especially when like let's say we're in the kitchen, right? And he's about to do something and I'm like trying to reach for something and I get in his way. It's like you always have the perfect timing. And of course that's just naturally me. I just don't pay attention to that stuff and he does. So, stuff like that, if it fits your business, it just makes you more likable because it makes you human, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You're not perfect. We're not perfect. We all make mistakes, right?
No, we
Um,
do.
yeah. And then this is you like the same things. So what are your favorite things to do? Again, talk about your hobbies. What do you do when you're not working and why? Why do you love it so much? Like I know Mubarak, you love golf, right? Like why do you love golf?
Good question. First of all, fun enough that you said, why do I like golf? From a point of view of this, uh, before I like golf, I need to know golf. I need to know, right?
Mm.
Know, like, and trust, right? Uh, Believe it or not, I was born and raised on like one step into golf court. Literally
Oh,
one step. One step is my home, and I could move one foot and put it in a golf course, right? That's where I was raised, right? But every time like that, you don't pay attention. And also because my family, it was not a thing about playing golf. We're
right.
immigrants from Africa. It wasn't a thing. But always I was fascinated with the game itself. I used to pick up balls when I was growing up because people would throw them in our backyards, right? And I'll pick them up and play with them. Then when I grew up and started doing business and coaching and consulting, uh, of course, relationship happened. I'll never forget one day I went to a wedding social in Canada. Here we have a thing called social. It's where you support the future bride and groom, right? It's a
Mm.
gathering, and we call it social because there is prizes and things like that people put in draws to win them, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
I went with one of my best friend, and then I look at all these trophies and things to win, and I was like, huh, nothing interested me apart from this golf bag with some things for golf. And I was like, you know what? If I win this bag, that's a calling, a childhood calling that I have to play golf, right? And I put everything, the draft raffle tickets, I put them in for that draw, and then I went sat. Guess what? I won that bag,
Yeah,
right?
you
So
did.
after winning the bag, and I brought it and put it in my office, right? Because nowhere else I can put it. I put it in my office. So people would come in and say, "Oh, you're golf?" I'm like, "No." So what is this doing here? Then I'm like, I want it. I want it. So one time, one client says, "No, you can't have this and not be a golfer. Let's go, and I'm going to take you for golfing." Right? That's how I started liking it. So from
Yeah.
there, because of my environment, I had no choice but to go back. And now, oh man, the reason why you're talking about it, because I talk about it a lot, right?
Right, right,
It,
right.
it's my new hobby. It's my new like something I'm trying to be better at, because I'm not even close to being better. But it's something that I look forward to in my downtime. Right, I'm reading or going to stores, finding out what's there, finding trainers, right? Yeah. So that's my
But
love
the
with.
question is, why do you keep playing it? Because I mean, why did you keep playing? Like obviously you found out that you like it, but what does it give you?
It gives me three things, right? One, it's opportunity. It's the I played sports when I was young. I played handball, right? But handball, it's a focused game that you don't have time to talk to your opponent, right? Golf, it's for. I said it was made for me. I love to talk. I love to get to know people. I love to ask questions. So when you're in golf course, you have, if you're playing 18 holes, you have a long hours to go. You have no choice but to build a relationship with someone you're with, right? So
Yeah.
that's one reason that I like it. Another one, it came as a surprise. Before I played golf, I thought it was an easy game. I thought just hitting that small ball. So then I found it hard. Then I was like, you know what? I like this because I love something challenges me. I love something that makes me better, right? So I
Mhm.
always look forward to go to the golf course so that I know I'm not going to be the same person I went there as, right? So
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the main reasons why I look forward for it. And it's to me, I use it as an example of life. Golf, it's like if you want to see life, what life is, there is so many things that you're not going to be planned. My first tournament, it was raining and pouring. Guess what? You don't go back home because it's raining. You play in rain, right? So things like that really makes me love it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so as you can hear, I can talk about golf until cows.
I know you keep going if I don't stop you.
Yeah,
And that's great, right? So like there's a reason why I asked him that. I asked Mubarak that because obviously it doesn't have anything to do with maternity leave, mom's on maternity leave, but that is how you can turn this, right? You like the same thing. So if you're to say if Mubarak's target market happen to to also like golf like he does, and then he talks about it from a business standpoint, like I like it because it helps me build relationship, I love challenges, it helps me kind of like practice, me in staying kind of challenging myself all the time, constantly growing, all that stuff. You can literally tie all the lessons that you learn from playing golf, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with business, to something in business, right?
yeah.
Or so in this particular thing that we're talking about, if you like the same things, right? If let's say you talk about your hobbies, and you can talk about, does it fill up an aspect that a day job can't fulfill,
Mhm.
right? Definitely golf can't can't fulfill that aspect that you like about
Yes,
golf, right? Yeah.
yes.
So again, tying it back to our example of moms on maternity leave. So you can also talk about what are your favorite bands or type of music that you listen to, songs, and etc., and why, right? I know like music is very like individual to people, but again, if you talk about why you like those specific bands, songs, music, then it may resonate a little bit more because music is typically universal, right? If the reason why we like music is universal, I should say, right? So if you talk about why, then that is another point of connection with your audience. Do you play or watch a specific sport, right? Talk about again why you like it, lessons you learn from it, memories of you playing it, and then tie it back to whatever it is that you're talking about in your message, the people you've met through it, right? I'm sure you talk about relationships when you're playing golf. I'm sure, Mubarak, you've met a lot of people and have, like you said, have built relationship and have known them in ways that you never could have had if you just had coffee with them, right?
Never. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
110%. Yeah.
for sure. Awesome. So as you're planning your content, remember, create content that inspires people and makes them feel good. or recognize that you're selling to people. So again, use second person language, like we talked about in the like factor episode, that gives them a sense that you're talking to them specifically, just one person. And then provide real value, not a sales spiel. Again, we showed you how you can do a guide, you can do a checklist, you can do how-tos, best practices guides. And on that note, Mubarak reminded me that you do have access for free to all of the resources that we provide in the Organic Reach Lead Secrets. So again, if organic marketing is something that's like you, I want to get better at it because I know it's the way to go, and I know that my clients, the clients that I'm going to connect with are going to be much better because I actually chose to work with them, right? Then download that guide, and the link is going to be in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, it's going to be in the description. Again, show your personality and style. Even if you're having someone else write your content, be sure that they know you well, or you edit their work before publishing, right? Because I mean, I actually had lunch with a content writer today. I didn't even tell you that, Mubarak. He lives here, and he's a content writer, and he is actually asking me, hey, how can I do certain things in my funnel? So we were talking business, and we had just this amazing view of the river, which is a wide river. It looks like an ocean. It was just perfect. So anyway, that just kind of reminded me, it doesn't have anything to do with this episode. But that's something that you can do when you're location free, and you can do whatever you want with your time, right? So yeah, show your personality and style. So some tips for planning content: start a library of the different categories. So again, it's one of those things. I'm sure Mubarak's going to say implement again. So I'm going to be the bad cop this time. I'm going to say, go through this, and again, stop it, pause it, write notes, pause it, write notes. Because on each of those slides that we showed you, on each of those aspects that we talked about, I'm pretty sure that you use those prompts and you're going to come up with different categories. And if all you did right now, after you finish this episode, is you start a library of the different categories that you can talk about, that can be like a great starting off point, inspiration for like when you're in the flow and you just like, you have 1 hour to like come up with different content. Like, oh my gosh, that could be like bam, bam, bam. I can write like, I don't know, 5 different social media posts in 1 hour because I already have my jumping off points for inspiration, right? You can also, as you get better at this, and of course, as you get good at putting content out there, you can develop a system that works for you, and then you can also develop this for potential team members, right? When you're ready for that stage. That's We're going to talk about systems for the next episode, not in a boring way, in a fun way. So, and how the systems can help you achieve those goals, right? I think that I think you can agree with me on this, Mubarak, that businesses are built on systems, right? If you don't have a system, you don't have a
100%.
business. Yeah. So
Yeah.
develop a system on that.
I would like to add that if you don't have system, you don't have
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Simple. Forget
Yeah.
about business. If you don't have a
That is
system, you
so
don't have a life.
true. That is so true. That is actually what my friend and I were talking about earlier. Now it makes sense too that I brought it up. So he has the agency that writes content for tech companies, right? But what he is location free. Obviously, he lives in Portugal, but he doesn't have time freedom because he still has to have meetings with clients and make sure their writers are doing their thing, doing their job. So it's like it's still not helping me do what I want to do with my time. So it's like that's kind of like what we were trying to figure out. Plus having a nice view also helps give you inspiration for that to keep going for that vision, right? So the third, I digress. The third point on the slide is pay attention to posts or content that did well, and then repurpose or recreate the essence of it, right? Because you're gonna see the essence really resonates with a lot of people, and then you can like turn it around, and then make a completely different show it from a different perspective, but the essence of it stays the same. And then
Mhm.
it takes away the stress from you coming up with fresh content all the time. And then you know that this is gonna resonate with your audience because they resonated with it before, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, an example, I actually just show I posted just simple, just when you can write on Facebook with the big texts. I just put love will always will heal anyone. Love can heal anyone. Hatred never will. A lot of people like responded to it like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Right? It's like, oh, I hit a chord there. I'm gonna pay attention to that, and I'm gonna see how I can kind of capture the same essence, but still kind of have my audience resonate with it, right? And then the last point for the slide is think of what you already have, right? Do you have client interviews, coaching calls, a list of questions or objections, right? A list of questions and objections are great for coming up with content, right? If you're, let's say, a coach that sells directly to your clients, what are some of those objections or questions that they get? You can write content about that so that you don't have to constantly address it or constantly answer the same questions, right? So it's great if you have that resource, if you can just send that to the client, for example, if they have that question, right? So again, it's
Yeah.
another stress-free way and valuable way to deliver value, and also show that people can trust you, that your audience can trust you, right? That's really
Yeah.
gold for your audience. So share those and then keep a library of them handy. I'll give you an example, one more thing, Mabarek, and then I'm a switch over to you. And I know because you have some things to say about this too. Yesterday we had a call with Sidra, and I was like, I was totally speechless because I was crying, and I'm like, didn't want to cry even further because of what she was saying, right? That call, she was basically saying, um, all the things that we do well in our community, right? And like, oh my gosh, like this is actually like making such a difference in their lives, whereas like it's not a cookie cutter thing. Like you actually show us how to create the thing, the vision that we want to come alive. And so I said, this is one of those client calls that you can just cut there and then like have that as a testimonial on your website, right? So that's what we mean here.
Yeah, fun enough, but I like the way you're saying it, but I want to make clarification on exactly this point is you said it's something you can cut right there. No, it's not something. It's something we're going to cut, right?
Yeah, we're actually definitely going to use it.
We're going to cut it and then use it. So again, what we're sharing with you guys is things that we do, right? I was fortunate enough early on to learn what they call mental models, right? Uh, Mental models are things that are tested of time, right? Like things that are not going to change, like weathers, things like they're there. They're not going to change, right? And so you can choose to use tactics without a strategy, right? Or you can choose to use a strategy without a principle, right? Or you can choose to use a principle without laws, because this is something we talk about in another program, right?
Yes.
There is laws that
You can
govern.
say it's Alpha Academy.
Yes. In one of our program, Alpha Academy, we talk about the laws that governs the universe, right? And those are laws that no matter how much you don't want to obey them, you want to obey them, they're there, right?
Yeah.
They're there. It's like we have night, we have a day, right?
Yeah.
We have a male, we have a female. So there's things that we share, and that's what Sidro is coming at. We're sharing from that place. We're not sharing from how we want to make you feel just right. We're sharing things that are test of time, that
Mm-hmm.
no matter how the technology is going to change, things are going to change, the computer you're using is going to change, the press UI is going to change. For example, a few weeks ago, Anna, she was in the UK, right? Before that, she was in the United States, right? But her business is not changing. The things she's doing is not changing, right? So it's very important, right? So this know, like, and trust, it doesn't matter what your business is. It's a law. People are gonna have to know you. They cannot just like you. You have to show up in their life to recognize it. Oh, I see Anna. Do I like her or not? Right? And then when they like you, they gotta trust you, right? So it's those things happens. No, if you like it or you don't, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that now you take this segment of this session very seriously. Honestly, I mean it from the point of our Sidra, because we want more Sidras. We want more
Yeah.
Sidras to say, yes, you guys, what you did for us was really absolutely amazing, right? So I'm passionate about these things. And then, yeah, when you talk about yesterday's call, it was another level, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why we do these things, right? We're here today talking about this. Yesterday, we are talking about, we're in the coaching call. So when you see us talking this is our life. This is what we
Yes.
do almost every week, right?
And we
Yeah,
love it.
we love it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that was actually the last slide. So go ahead
Oh,
and yeah, it was good. Like we edited
yes.
it so good, and I'm glad that
Awesome.
you talked about models,
Mhm.
because ultimately we're talking about we started this podcast with of course introducing who we are, and then we talked about aligning your financial goals to your vision, and then
Mhm.
now we're talking about the know, like, and trust factor, which is going to be the foundation for your marketing, right? And
Yes.
so when you talk about models, it reminded me of our next episode, because it is a model. It is a
Yeah.
model that will give you 100% certainty that you'll be able to achieve the goals that you've set.
Mhm.
And that's like a big promise, right? That's a
It is.
big promise. And so to find out whether we're being authentic with you or not, you got to watch or listen to the next episode, and we'll see you there. So that is it for today. This has been
Mhm.
Organic Reach X. Thank you for your presence, by the way. Sorry, I'm changing things up on you again, Baber. Thank you for your presence. If you've made it this far, to episode 8, we do not take it for granted that you are still listening, that you are still here, because we know that it's a noisy world out there. You could be listening or watching everyone else that's not us. But we appreciate that you're here, and we appreciate that you're here to improve yourself, to improve your business. We don't take that for granted. So this has been Organic Reach X.
I will show you how to go with the flow organically in your business.
We'll see you next time.